What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Jericho Report Weekly News Briefing. This Sunday, the 2nd of October, 2022. Here we are in October, and it is fall. It is 48 degrees in St. Louis as I shoot this video. As always, the first link below will take you over to the Patreon post. That's where you can find all of this week's madness. Not so much caffeine this week, but plenty of news. If you're paying attention to stuff going on around the world, let's just jump into it. First link here, deadly Ebola-like virus that lives in Africa. Monkeys poised for spillover into humans could cause next pandemic. Study warns, be advised, Ebola-like virus could be the new pandemic. Put a link to it. Pfizer, new details. Let's see what this is talking about. Pfizer and BioNTech submit application for U.S. FDA for emergency use authorization of Omicron BA.4, BA.5. Adaptive bivalent vaccine booster for children 5 to 11. The URL actually says investors.pfizer.com. I think that's, just important to point out, investors. The Trudeau up in Canada, he's got a message for you. Let's check out what he's saying.
The resurgence of COVID-19 as winter approaches is to make sure that you get up to date in your vaccinations with the new formulations coming out that'll keep us even safer.
The new formulations will keep us even safer. That's a message from Trudeau. Back in the United States, FDA vaccine advisor warns healthy young people should not get new COVID booster, says it's unfair to them to make risk, and data suggests the shot not as effective as the first batch. This is from dailymail.com. I'll put a link to it. What are you talking about? The quadruple vax Pfizer CEO, he's got the COVID again. Surely it's safe and effective. I'll put a link to that. Women said coronavirus shots affect their periods. Oh, they're just crazy. No, new study says they're right. Put a link to this from the Washington Post. Let's just zoom through these. We got more people dying this week of unknown causes. I don't know. Heartland actor Robert Collier died of 33. Put a link to that. We got Gangsta Paradise rapper Coolio dead at 59. These are both apparently cardiac arrests, apparent cardiac arrests from unknown causes. I don't know. British Indian cardiologist links father's sudden death to, I can't say that, calls misinformation the greatest miscarriage of medical science. These are doctors. I'll put a link to it. Read into what they're talking about. The American Red Cross. Now, you talk about disinformation. Let me just read you this from the American Red Cross. We don't label blood products containing vaccinated or unvaccinated blood, as COVID-19 vaccine does not enter the bloodstream, and poses no safety risk to the recipient. Really now? Just dwell on that for a second. I'll put a link to that. And Joe Biden news this week. Jackie, where is Jackie? Jackie's not here. No, she died a couple months back, guy.
Where's Jackie?
He's confused. In fact, this was his press release about the Congresswoman Jackie passing away back in August. But he's calling for this week. And everyone under 15, get over here.
Everybody under 15. Come here.
Watch the faces of the kids. Watch as they walk up. They know, like, keep your hands off me, creep. Look at that. Look how they're looking at him. They know. They know. Does not enter the bloodstream. Just think about that. Just does not enter the... Anyway, over to financial news. How major U.S. stock indexes fared on the Friday. Looks like the Dow was down 500 points. For the week, the Dow was down another 864 points. The Dow closed at 28,725. Dow below 29,000. I'll put a link to the market recap data. Let's see, chance of U.S. recession just shot up to 80%, says one guy on CNBC. Put a link to that. Americans have lost $4,200 in annual income under Joe Biden administration. Report says that from NTD. We got President Biden U-turns on student debt relief for millions after lawsuit finding his public backlash over huge cost attack. Oh, come on. But we got plenty of money for Ukraine. Look at this. The U.S. Now, this is brand new monies. U.S. Congress negotiates set nearly $12 billion in new Ukraine aid. This is a brand new story. $12 billion more on top of the quadrillion we've already given to Ukraine. Plenty of money for Ukraine. Put a link to that. I don't even know what that is. What's confused? Angry Democratic Senator Dianne Frankenstein, 89, said she doesn't know the thing that they do, the continuing funding under the government. She doesn't even know what you're talking about. Is she finally losing her marbles? Put a link to that. German firewood prices skyrocket, says the data. Oh no, as winter approaches, the skyrocketing firewood smoke seen in Paris. Be advised, another fire breaks out at world's biggest produce market. More attacks on the food chain. Here's a video of that going on. The whole place going up in flames. Put a link to it. More attacks on the food chain. Be advised. Kamala Harris suggests hurricane... Now, for all of you people wanting relief down in Florida, I'm going to get into that in the Earth Changes stuff coming up. Kamala Harris suggests hurricane and disaster relief should be based on race, as if the hurricane only hit the black neighborhood. This is exactly what she's saying. I'll put a link to that. Donbass referendum calls for a new world order. What do you mean, new world order, you conspiracy theorist? BRICS International Forum president says, put a link to this. And I got one more. Federal Reserve announces major pilot exercise for ESG social credit score system, just like the one they have in China. And that takes us into new world order and police state news. And please stop and share this video, because there's shit going on here people need to know about. Things we've been talking about for years. Check it out. Technical possibilities for a U.S. central bank digital currency. Microchip in your hand. I'll put a link to this from the White House website. Listen to what this bitch is saying.
We're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy.
Yeah, just like those documentaries told us years ago about it. Everybody's rights removed and everything tracked and traced and perfectly. Hillary Clinton likens Trump supporters to Nazis. This from the New York Post. That's rich coming from you, bitch. FBI SWAT raids home of Catholic pro-life activists screaming children watch. Yes, the Trump people are the Nazis. Put a link to that. January 6th prisoner beaten till his eyeball comes out. Later tied to the chair for 12 hours. Yes, the Trump people are the Nazis. The Washington Times says Postal Service surveilled protesters with gun rights, pro-gun, anti-Biden agendas. The Postal Service is watching you, be advised. Have you heard what's going on down under? This is Victoria, Australia.
Have you heard about the new fines in Victoria? Here on the trails, legal. Step off, illegal. $1,000 fine.
Did Alex Jones not say something at one time about keep the population from entering in unauthorized zones? Put a link to that. I got one here. Now this is going on. This is the bitch from New Zealand. Listen to what she's saying about freedom of speech on the internet.
Successfully end a war. If people are led to believe the reason for its existence is not only legal but noble. How do you tackle climate change if people do not believe it exists?
We have to get rid of this. As I've said all along, enjoy this tool we have to communicate. We won't have it forever. They are actively just looking for every way they can to shut it down, censor it. Just in immigration news, this is what's coming at the United States. Apparently, people from Haiti, Cuba, Venezuela, all headed to the U.S. border. Be advised, another wave of people come in. Put a link to that. We got Take Your Ass Home. Heavily armed black rights groups march through Austin chanting anti-illegal migrant slogans, demands Biden close the border and calls for reparations now. That's what's going on down in Texas. I'll put a link to that. Up in New York, we got New York wants $500 million from Americans to house new migrant workforce. Put a link to it, and I got one more. China has opened overseas police stations in the U.S. and Canada to monitor Chinese citizens, as reported. I have the perfect name for it. Let's call it American Police Force. Never forget what happened up in Hardin, Montana. Wasn't that guy a dual citizen? Anybody remember that years ago? Anyway, over to World War III news. U.S. slaps new sanctions on Russia after Putin annexes parts of Ukraine. He's just gobbling up more parts of Ukraine this week. That's a big deal going on. We got Russia's Nord Stream pipeline to Germany loses pressure. Oh, why did it lose pressure? Cannot rule out sabotage of Russian gas pipelines, do you think? Put a link to that. There's pictures of it bubbling up out of the ocean. Interestingly enough, the Nord Stream pipeline sabotaged and destroyed. Next day this happens. Check it out. Poland and Norway open milestone trans-Baltic gas pipeline. Imagine that! Zelensky on Putin's threat for nuclear weapons. I don't think he's bluffing. That from CNBC News. I don't think he is. I think sooner or later. Russian bombers capable of carrying nukes detected near Finland. That from the J-Post. Put a link to that. Be advised. Let me get this out of the way. We got Coast Guard spots Chinese and Russian naval ships near Alaskan Island. Put a link to this from local media. And buses around the United States carrying this message. Do you know what to do in a radiation emergency? Put a link to that. I'm not making it up. Poland and Bulgaria foreign ministries are recommending their citizens leave Russia immediately by any means possible. Put a link to that. Finland Interior Minister collapses during live broadcast on Nord Stream briefing. She fell out. I have one question. Is she vaccinated? Put a link to that. North Korea launches more, apparently 4 or 5 times in the past couple weeks. They're launching projectiles into the Japanese Sea. Put a link to this. And check this out. Listen to what Kamala Harris has to say about North Korea.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
We have a strong and enduring alliance with the Republic of North Korea. Do you need any further proof that all of these people, all they do is read scripts? Over to Earth changes in 2012 news now. We got the earthquake set up for 6 points and above for the past week. We had a 6.0 on the 1st, a 6.0 on the 30th, a 6.5 on the 29th. Not too much happened in earthquakes this week. The big story this week was the hurricane. More than 1.6 million without power. Houses underwater, floating houses as hurricane slams into the southwestern side of Florida. Look at that thing. I'm sure everybody watched this live as I did. Craziness down in Florida. Thoughts to everybody. One funny thing that happened, this weather lady decided to protect her microphone with a condom. Turns out sound doesn't travel too well through the condom. She's actually talking to a condom. Put a link to that. One thing that pissed me off, Florida weatherman slammed on Twitter after he's posting a video of a struggling kitten in the storm. Talking about how, the storm floods, it's rapid. This is about 6 inches of water. This is a bench right outside their studio. He posted this video of this struggling. He didn't deleted it because people were giving him shit. Why don't you go outside and get the kitten? Well, in what I think is damage control. I hope not. I hope that's the actual kitten. They did end up saving the kitten, but I don't know. He's getting all kinds of hate. As this story unraveled, they try to do damage control. I hope that's the cat. I hope the cat's okay. Story pissed me off. Here's one thing you did not see on the mainstream media. Check out this guy. Yeah! Woo! Hell yeah! Put a link to that. Shout out to that guy. This storm also took out the power in Cuba. Cuba without electricity after hurricane hammers the power grid. Put a link to that. We got France over on the other side. Studies restricting the charging of electric cars. Speaking of electric, there's just not going to be enough power to charge your car in the wintertime. I'm sorry. Put a link to that. Green group influencing Joe Biden has deep ties to the Chinese government. I am shocked. I put a link to that. Biblical. Apparently a river of fish materialized in the Arabian desert. I don't know. I don't know anything about this biblical stuff. You tell me. I don't even know if this is a current video or if this is something from a long time ago. I just found that interesting. I thought I'd throw it in. I don't know what's going on. Back in the United States, let me ask you something. What if they had genetically modified mosquitoes to deliver the vaccine? What if they didn't even have to ask your permission? They didn't even have to. Maybe they're spraying stuff in the skies, chemtrails. I mean, who knows? What if they put it in the mosquitoes? Just a thought. A couple more here. We got the PETA calls for women to go on sex strike against men who eat meat. That ain't happening, lady. I love meat. Put a link to that. And I got NASA crashes DART spacecraft. And they say that they crashed the spacecraft into the asteroid planet. Who knows what happened? I mean, I would like to think in a perfect world that NASA's telling me the truth, but we all know they're not telling us the truth about anything. Over to strange, bizarre news. I got some video I'd like to show you. Teacher punched in the face. This happened down in Louisiana somewhere. Let me just play this video here for you. Apparently there's a fight that broke out in the classroom. The little teacher, she looks like a little lady from Poltergeist, right? She just, come on guys, break it up. And she gets punched in the face. Apparently her nose is broken or something. Students were arrested. It could have been worse, though. They could have been having weapons. Look at this. Underage Chicago teens show off their firearms following graduation. Look at this. Watch this. Watch this.
I told you it's gonna get. We don't play with no regular nigga.
This guy's got a gun on his shirt. Interestingly enough, one of these guys I noticed is wearing a NASA shirt.
Kiss like that.
Hang on.
No talking. No cap. No talking.
Look, NASA right there.
3 switches right here.
3 switches right there. They got switches up in Chicago, man. Over in Philadelphia, this is going on. Check it out. Can I get $20 on pump 5, please? Put a link to that. Over in, where is this now? Over in Paris, apparently it looks like the California malls now. This is happening in Paris. Just madness all over the world. I'll put a link to this. Check it out. We got this going on in New York City. Check it out. Craziness on the subway. Beat his ass, man! We also got this going on, and things are getting really mental in NYC. We have a naked lady on top of a car, screaming and kicking and flailing around. I think if you see if you let the video play, the cops come and take her, hopefully, to the hospital. We got Michigan man pleads guilty to killing college student he met on a dating app, eating his testicles. Doesn't that strangely look like the guy that used to be on CNN? Well, I forget his name. Put a link to that. Teen girl, center of Amber Alert, killed in shootout with police. This happened out in California, apparently. A guy killed his wife and then kidnapped their daughter, but then I guess the daughter was in on it. Daughter jumped out of the car as it was being chased by police, started open fire, and the cops killed everybody, of course. I'll put a link to that. So she was the focus of an Amber Alert. She's now dead because she started firing on the cops or something. We got Lizzo, the Snooki. I'll just put a link to this. She's showing off her chapless abscess something. I don't know. Put a link to that. This is going on out in San Francisco. I'm not going to play this. It's exactly what it looks like. I don't recommend you even pull that one up. Snowflake now. I got to play this video for you. Snowflake wearing a mask, cuts in line at Walmart somewhere in America, has mental breakdown. Just check this out. This is crazy.
I didn't touch you, man.
Not that long ago when I can't stand another man touching me.
Nobody touched
No
her.
one did that.
She cut him.
Is this a prank?
Is this a prank?
Yeah, he won't go away. He
You're
needs to
in
go away. He's the fucking
He needs to go away. He needs to go away.
I need to leave.
Watch this.
I still got. Okay. She threw some of my stuff. Where is she still? Hell if I know. I'm so sorry.
Watch this though. Watch this.
She wasn't sorry when she cut in line. Then screamed.
I didn't see you.
You're making my eyes.
Well, I just asked her if she saw anyone in line.
Fucking leave. Just go.
That's an adult.
You're making it
Let's just walk up.
I'm just talking.
Walk up to you. Walk with this.
I thought I was bipolar. Holy shit. I got this. Now this, I did not even see this one. I mean, I know at the height of the vaccine thing, they were giving away all this free shit. This is one I did not see. Tell me if you saw this one. I didn't see this one.
Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated.
I didn't catch this one. Did you see this one?
You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries?
Do you see what they were doing
Wait a
to
minute.
people?
But there's also a...
Come on. Don't you want a
burger
hamburger?
element
Come
too?
on. Come on. We'll give you a $20
Let me
Walmart
check
gift
the
card,
donut.
too.
Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay.
That was one I missed. I mean, I knew they were doing all kinds of scandalous shit. That was one I did not see. Anyway, check out my favorites for other stuff. We got the death toll in the hundreds. I think locally that's not true. A sheriff kind of jumped the gun down in Lee County, Florida. It's not good, though. My thoughts to everybody in Florida. Safe and Effective, a Second Opinion 2022 Oracle film. I'm surprised this is still on YouTube. There's a documentary to show your friends and family if you want something to show them about the vaccine. American Airlines flight interrupted by sounds of moaning. Oh, the PA system. Myocarditis. Definitely check out my favorites. All kinds of fresh news over there. Thank you to everybody putting out content, keeping everybody informed. You guys are doing awesome work. How about some shout outs to round this thing up? We got shout out to the people in Philadelphia. Check it out. Antifa showed up and trying to tear down the Christopher Columbus statue.
You're so scared.
People wasn't having it. I don't care how you feel about Christopher Columbus. You're not going to show up here and start tearing shit down.
I give you a business card, sir, if there's a problem.
And he gets all, they got a bat. One guy breaks out a knife and cuts the guy's bike tires. I say shout out to the people in Philadelphia for standing up to the monument. You're not going to show up here and tear shit down. Shout out to the real gun. Check this out. These guys try to rob a store somewhere. Guy comes in with a real gun. They say, watch this. Watch this. Here we go. Boom. Boom, boom. It's fake.
It's fake. It's fake.
Oh, well. Mine's is real. That's right.
Oh, well, mine's is real. Shout out to that guy and shout out to the real gun. Shout out to Edward Snowden.
Right
Did you see
before we
this?
were coming on the air, Edward Snowden, we found out, is now a Russian citizen. President Vladimir Putin signing a decree today granting that citizenship to...
Good for Edward Snowden. And screw everybody who threw him under the bus. In fact, if you don't know who Edward Snowden is, you can watch Citizenfour right here on YouTube if you need to just refresh your memory about the shit he exposed, about how the NSA spies on everybody and records everything. I'll put a link to the documentary. Watch it with ads. Well, if you have ad blocker, you're not going to see one ad. That's all I got for shout-outs, guys. If you like the report, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you think it sucked, it's the worst. You never want to see again, please rate, though. It helps it move around. You can also follow me on all my links below. Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Rumble, BitChute. Definitely follow me other places. You can support me on Patreon or directly with DonorBox. I put a lot into these reports. A lot went into this one, although not as much caffeine as last week. Please tell me your thoughts. Again, love to everybody down in Florida, everybody affected by the hurricane. Man, it's just a disaster. I hope that cat is okay. Apparently, we might have the new Ebola might be the next the next shit they're going to try to pull as they continuously try to push the new formulations. Madness in the world. You guys tell me your thoughts. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for a few minutes on a Sunday. You guys take care. Stay safe. Have a good rest of the weekend. Have a good week. I love you very much. I will see you on the next one.